is the connection between spiritual, emotional, and physical healing? As we mentioned about the interconnection of our spirit, soul, and body in the previous videos, and 1 Thessalonians 5:23 talks about these three parts, the spirit, soul, and body as one. Same way, our spiritual healing is intimately connected to the healing of our emotions, and these in turn affect the healing of our bodies. How can this be? Negative emotions damage our spiritual health. This is because every negative emotion that you can name represents a sinful inner state of the heart. You and I cannot have emotions like anger, rage, unforgiveness, frustration, rejection, despair, discouragement, envy or jealousy, fear or anxiety, and yet be enjoying the peace of Christ at the same time. Our emotional life plays a key role in relationship to both our spiritual and our physical well-being. Now, negative emotions also damage our physical health. This is because almost every negative emotion you can name is a stressor to the body. As many as 80% of all incurable diseases have a mind-body connection. They are stress-induced or stress-enhanced, or both. Our bodies were created to live with the peace of God in our hearts. When our hearts and minds are at peace, our bodies enter into peace, and all of the systems begin to recover balance and restore healing. We have therefore a simple equation. Negative emotions is equal to sinful states of the heart, is equal to loss of peace, which is equal to loss of spiritual health, and the result is loss of physical health as well. So through the healing journey, our spirit, our soul, and our body will be restored back to its proper order and original alignment. We are created with basic needs: love, acceptance, value, safety, purpose, identity. Any unmet need will cause a fracture in our soul. Have you ever wondered why all pain is relational? Because we were created for relationship and fellowship, and there is this desire and need in our hearts for family, for community, for fellowship, for relationship, for affection. So when we are hurt in childhood, either through rejection, abuse, or trauma, we lose trust and we become a survivor. We say, I cannot trust anyone. This is done sometimes subconsciously as a child. Or if I don't look out for myself, who else will? No one will be there for me. Therefore, I will take care of myself. Or I'm not going to let anyone hurt me like that again. And we put up walls and we isolate. And we waver between desperately wanting love and fellowship, because we are created and designed for love and fellowship, and then putting up walls because we are hurt now and we lose trust. So we have this inner conflict, the need for love, but the need to feel safe and protected. And we use the strongholds and the walls as a self-protection to protect ourselves from further hurt. Now, not healing the wounds of childhood will continue this destructive behavior and the cycle in your family, brokenness and hurt from generation to generation. And unable to cope with life, now we turn to false comfort. Behaviors, events, experiences, people, and substances will become our false refuges. Anything that brings comfort or escape from the pain. Jesus came to heal the brokenhearted. Any of these basic needs can become our idols, and we will try to fulfill them in ungodly ways, although they were basic needs. And we were supposed to meet them in a godly and healthy ways. But because of the woundedness, because of the fear of being hurt again, because of rejection, now we put up walls and we try to meet those needs through ungodly ways, and they become our idols. For example, we can demand love from others or try to receive it in a form of addictions. And your heart forms a love vacuum and you become demanding. When love is not communicated, it creates a vacuum out of which rejection grows. Anything that you use to fill the need in that love vacuum will become an idol, an object of worship. People try to fill this love vacuum with people. I must find someone to love me. Singles think marriage will fulfill them. It's a lie. You need to grow up and mature to a place that you are able to be a giver. Your spouse cannot fill the vacuum. Your counselor cannot fill that vacuum. Your pastor cannot fill that vacuum. No person can ever fill a love vacuum, only Jesus Christ himself. And the person who has a love vacuum tends to draw others into this vacuum and suck the life out of them. The spouse or friends feel suffocated and dominated because this person is crying out and saying, love me enough to make me feel good. And they smother you. Example of a love vacuum in a marriage. A spouse is suffocated. A spouse is worshipped. A spouse is bound. Requirements are made that cannot be met. There is a reaction of hate and jealousy. For example, they cannot have their own friends. It's all about them, and I want you to myself. And they become the center of your life, and they manipulate you. The person with a love vacuum becomes jealous and possessive, dominating and controlling, will require the other person's attention continually, and if it is refused, they feel rejected and they get angry. It becomes a one-way relationship with one person who gives and the other who takes. They don't want to share the person. This is important. If this is you and you are in a relationship and you feel suffocated and smothered, don't allow the needs of another person to control you. Otherwise, you become their slave. They will use emotional blackmail. In marriage, they will say, if you really love me, you will, and then they will demand what the needs are, selfish desires, and their identification of love, whatever that is. And between parent and child relationship, I am your mother. The relationship is used to cause guilt on the other party. In a friendship, the emotional soul ties are formed and they are very strong. The weaker one gets controlled and sucked in. Other forms of filling vacuum are through objectives and possessions, through career. They become workaholic. They find significance by having degrees, through pleasures and self-gratification such as sex, lust, and perversity. Love without a commitment. The physical can never satisfy the spiritual. Remember, if you cannot receive love emotionally and spiritually, the body becomes the instrument by which love is given or received. They also try to fill the love vacuum through religion. They end up having savior image with savior complex. The broken person wants followers and tries to keep them dependent on him or her. He or she has a need to feel important and wants to be needed. This could be the motivation also for starting a ministry or a group, a prayer group, support group, whatever that might be. Some people become religious to fulfill a need. And other forms are drugs and alcohol. So they become totally self-centered. It's all about me attitude. So we do need healthy love. We are created for relationships, and we need affection, and we want to feel belong. We want to feel accepted, but in a healthy way. God must be your source. People, we need a supplement. I always say, when we go to God, that bigger void in our hearts will be filled as a main course, as we will be fed and we will be full. But then the love from other relationships will be our dessert. We will enjoy it. It's the smaller void in our hearts, in our souls. So God must be our source. And when we are filled with Abba Father's love, that's when we will be enjoying that love to give and to receive, not only demand to receive based on needs, need-based relationships, but yet God-centered relationships. So God is in the center, and we give and receive through Jesus Christ being in the middle of every relationship. He must be our source. People are not our source. If you want to get, you have to give. If you want to give, first you have to receive from God, and through Him, give to the relationships and people around you.